Hello, gang. Jason here. We're going to do a quick drive-by. Didn't have time to make many notes. I made a few, but wanted to get this out. We're going to talk about weather and how to prepare basically a quick rapid fire of ideas so you can keep your wash from being a total loss. I know those are kind of bold words, but it looks like the South is going to get some serious ice. And I'm really concerned about all my friends and family down there, especially you wash owners. So most of you are of age to have experienced these things before, but not all. Or maybe you're new to the wash business. You know, I remember even in my area, Northeast Ohio, I mean, as we speak, you might even hear the wind. This mic's pretty good mic, so you probably won't, but the wind is really bad out today. It's snowy, it's blustery, it's super cold. And even out here where we're used to this, ice storms can cripple an environment. And I've been through some ice storms where I walked outside my front porch, and I remember it was like a weird experience where you see these flashes of lights just all over the place as transformers were being taken out by trees. So you hear some creaking and popping, and then you see a light in the distance, and then you just hear trees fall. The trees were just falling like crazy. It was the weirdest. I liked the experience. It was super interesting. But obviously this can cause people a lot of harm, both monetarily and physically, because your power's going out, right? And you gotta be careful with trees. So why am I bringing that up in the car wash thing? Well, it can mean everything. If you're in the South, you don't have things to heat your wash, pipes explode, your wash can be a total wash there's no pun intended there, but hey, that worked out. So in the Southwest and Southeast, it looks like you guys are going to get hit by a lot of ice, potentially. And I feel most of the weather places over-exaggerate everything for clicks these days, which really frustrates me. It's hard to find some good weather people, but I feel I have found one or two, and these people are the most non-alarmist people because they know that's a situation right now where everybody's being alarmist when they shouldn't be. But it feels like even the non-alarmist folks are saying you're going to get some serious ice and cold for 4 or 5 days after that serious ice. And that's where the real problem comes in. So I'm going to rattle down the list, not really in a particular order, but the number one thing I'm going to say. So there is number one and the rest isn't in order. Check your weep on your machines. Now, it really depends on your machine. Some have what I call, there's probably a much better term, but I call an inverted weep relay. In other words, when the power goes out, it starts to weep. So in other words, electric is holding the relay to keep it from weeping. And when power goes out, the relay lets go, and it allows your machine to weep. Some have it where you need power to actually make the weep work. Some machines are just going to weep water. Some machines are going to weep everything or lose all your chemical and everything else. So first of all, get to know your machine. And you guys have a couple days. I'm going to edit this as fast as possible, get it out hopefully today, Wednesday, the 21st in the late afternoon, early evening. Gives you guys a few days to prepare. So how do you prepare for this? Some machines, you want to take all the water away, blow it down, and then heat your back room if you can. The reason you need to check your weep, if you want to go that direction, is here is the real world. Here's what happens in the real world, folks. You have a weep. Your machine has a weep, right? Well, some people check it every couple of weeks. Some people check it every couple of months. Some people may check it a couple times a year or just before a season that could get cold. And some people don't check it at all. Well, as any of you know who deal with electric and water, especially water corrodes, right? So this machine that has weep, it has the thing in place. If that valve hasn't been worked in a couple weeks, couple months, couple years, it may electronically click to weep, and it's not going to go anywhere because that valve is stuck in one way or another. So please, minimum, check your weep statuses. Okay, check your weep relays and whatever weep mechanism you have. Number one thing, check that. Next is obviously now, tonight, or tomorrow morning, go get winter items. I know you're in the South, but if you have access to get any kind of salt, obviously, hopefully you want salt that is as for your driveway, but get some salt in place. We deal with it all the time out here, but it's going to help you a lot to help clean your driveways. I believe you guys are going to get rain beforehand. So if that's the case, don't salt beforehand because the rain is going to wash it away. Just salt afterwards. It'll still help get the ice off. From an operational point of view, a few things. One, when you get your lot way cleaner faster than anybody else, there's a lot of things that can happen. Your employees and yourself aren't going to slip as easy. and you're obviously your customers, you can open way sooner. When you prepare right, you can open way sooner. You can even serve the community in some ways if your business is open and everybody else is struggling. So keep your lots really clean and try to get it cleaned earlier and sooner than later. It really helps everything out. It gets you operational and up and running and making money again way quicker as well. So I was going to need some salt. A lot of owners have given me grief in the past for mentioning this, but I just got off the phone with an owner who mentioned it before I even did. I suggest you have some type of generator as a backup. Why is that? Well, the power goes out, you may want to get into your CRM for some reason. You may even want to move a machine, or you may want to, depending on your machine, have it so it doesn't weep because you blew out your lines. You don't want it to weep and waste all your water and chemical. It just depends on how your wash is set up. Or with the proper generator, you might be able to keep heat in the building, right? So I like the idea of generators. It's something as a business owner you should have anyway. I mean, even on my PC here, I have an absolute killer battery backup in case I do a bunch of work. The power goes out. I didn't lose all my work, right? Didn't lose editing a 2-hour video. But for business owners who have a brick and mortar business, especially something like a car wash, you never know why you might want power. So it's a good idea to have a right generator, even something that does 220 if you need to make something run you didn't think you were going to have to make run, right? Next thing would be turbo heaters. So usually those are kerosene, gasoline, diesel, different ways of running turbo heaters. Depends, again, a lot of this depends on your wash. So when you're listening to me, I know every wash is different. You may or may not need these things. These are just for everybody. It's just a list. Turbo heaters may obviously keep your pipes and things from freezing. So even if you have weep, when you have a back room, even here in the north, when it got really cold, and we're talking a brick building made to be a car wash from the day go here in the north, when it gets really cold, you could run into some pipe issues. So we would have little mini heaters in the back rooms, right where the water comes in, right near the wall or near the floor where the water comes in. So use your head. That's another reason you might want a generator, because you might want an electric heater. Also keep in mind, if you're on a turbo heaters, carbon monoxide issues. Okay, so you don't want anybody having an issue there. Speaking of turbo heaters, keep in mind, they are obviously very flammable. So if let's say there's a scenario, a wild scenario, and it probably will never happen, but you're using some type of freeze-proof chemical, which maybe has alcohol in it, and you're using a turbo heater. Guess what? Alcohol and open flames doesn't work real well. So you might have a flammable situation. So just keep in mind, when you're in a situation you're not in very often, prepare, and then think things through a little bit. Think through some terrible scenarios ahead of time, so you don't make a goofy little mistake that can cost you a lot of money or even cause some harm. Also, those in the South, you know how to do this better than I do, but just different tarps if you don't have doors. If you do have doors, check your doors if you don't use them very often, because in the north here, that's the number one fail point. Even though we're in this all the time, the number one fail point in all of car washing is doors. So check it, make it work. If it makes sense, just shut down. It's not worth the few customers you're going to have, even if you have monthly programs. If it's getting crazy for your area, just shut the place down. Always have extra fuel on hand, whether that's diesel or recreational fuel, whatever you're using for your implements, your extra emergency preparedness. Again, even another reason to have generators is to charge up all your batteries. A lot of things are battery operated. So all your power tools and tools you may need to fix something that has frozen, you can recharge all those batteries. Those little handheld torches, I forget, there's that special gas that's a little bit more potent than propane. It just lost my mind at the moment, but have those on site. You don't know how many times those have come in handy in really cold areas with just locks on doors or lock on something. Again, heating up pipes, repairing something. Those little MAP gas or propane heaters come in super handy. And again, we're going to step away from car washing again for a minute. If you've never experienced a serious ice situation where power lines and limbs and everything goes down like crazy, which it looks like there's a real potential for this. Here's a few things to keep in mind there. First of all, chainsaws come in super handy. Wear proper clothing, because chainsaws are obviously very dangerous. I say that because I've nicked my leg a few times with some chainsaws. A sharp chain can work about 4 times better than a dull chain, so you can get 4 times as much work done. Again, have your batteries ready if you're using a battery-powered one, which are awesome, and have your chain lube, as well as your 2-stroke oil, have all that ahead of time. Be careful of power lines and dead animals. Jason, that's the weirdest thing. What are you talking about? I was very fortunate and blessed to be able to go to a Toyota event. They flew me out to Utah, and we had a personal chef and all this kind of cool stuff for an event out there. And the personal chef only had one arm. He was a celebrity chef of some sort. And his story was, he was out hiking in Oregon or somewhere in the woods, and he came by a dead bear, and he went to check on the bear, and he touched the bear and it took out his arm, because the reason the bear was dead is because it was laying on a down power line that he couldn't see. I know that's the most obscure scenario, but the reason I'm mentioning that is because if you've been through one of these storms, a lot of trees go down, a lot of power lines go down, and you may not see a power line. It may be unexpected. So if there is a serious ice event where trees are popping everywhere, taking out power lines, I just don't want to see anybody get hurt. Use great judgment on all this stuff. Also, some of you are going to get snow, a lot of snow, which is not as bad, is not nearly as bad as ice. But for those who get snow, again, just speaking from a northerner, if you're shoveling a lot of snow, or maybe you have friends or family that are older shoveling a lot of snow, believe it or not, a lot of people drop dead when they shovel snow, have a heart attack or anything else. And again, that's another obscure thing, right? But in the north, I know about this being in the north, but in the south, you may not know about that. So grandma or grandpa may get out there, shovel snow. I wouldn't let them do that. Make sure you take care of them and tell them why. So here's what happens. And I'm going to explain my understanding, and there's a lot I don't know, right? So it's cold. You have some adrenaline. You don't see it very often. Because it's cold, you don't realize how hard you're taxing your body. Shoveling snow is extremely taxing. It really gets the heart rate up. But because it's so cold out and the cold kind of gets you going, you don't notice how much your heart is working when you're shoveling snow. It's very difficult to shovel snow. Not only that, I just looked it up a little bit to have some more insight on that, because this is a real thing, is the cold air constricts your blood vessels. So that's part of it. And again, between all the cardio work you're getting and the cold air and everything else, it is very taxing on your body. So it's a real thing. If you do have to shovel snow, just take some breaks, take your time. Again, just especially be aware for the older people. I know that's a weird thing to bring up, but darn it, if it helps one person, right? A few other things to keep in mind, just have some really good tools, scrapers, snow shovels. I like a big spud bar. Everybody should have a giant big spud bar. You can break up anything when it comes to ice and snow with a spud bar. Well, ice, I should say. And do some research. I did not have time to put this together. It was been something on my radar, and I went to the gym, and it's looking kind of crazy out there. It's looking like you guys are going to get a lot of ice in the south. The good news is it makes cars really dirty, and you go wash a lot of cars. But the bad news is if you don't prepare, you might have a total loss of your car wash, and I don't want to see that. So yeah, check your insurance as well. Make sure you guys are covered. But you know who's going to know more about this than me? That's the collective. Nothing can beat the hive mind of the interwebs. So if you have some ideas and some ways to prepare, please put them in the comments. Give some people some tips. Again, folks, even in the north, I'm just most concerned about the ice. Even in the north, ice just destroys a lot of infrastructure. And when you combine loss of infrastructure while being in the south because you're not used to it, and in addition to that, having 4 or 5 days of cold weather after the event, this could be really tough for your home, your business, yourself. But again, especially pipes and infrastructure, things breaking. So do some due diligence, get some research done, buy what you need, and comment. Have a conversation below. Hope you all have an absolute great day, and talk to you soon.